Ever wondered how that $20 sweater ended up in your hands? It's sitting there in your closet looking fresh, trendy, and impossibly cheap, but have you ever stopped to think about the massive high-speed machine behind it? Today we are diving deep into the explosive rise of H&M, the Swedish giant that didn't just join the fashion industry, it literally rewrote the rules of fashion history forever. This isn't just a story about clothes. It's a story about a global conquest that changed how the entire world dresses every single day. To understand this massive empire, we have to travel back to 1947. Picture a young, ambitious businessman named Erling Persson taking a trip to the United States. While he's there, he sees something that absolutely blows his mind. In post-war America, retail was all about high volume and low prices. It was a complete departure from the slow, exclusive boutique culture back in Europe. Erling realized that if he could bring that fashion for everyone energy back to Sweden, he'd be sitting on a gold mine. He went back home and opened a store called Hennes, which is Swedish for hers. It was a hit from day one because women loved getting trendy looks without the designer price tag. But wait, where did the M come from? For over 20 years, it was just Hennes. Then, in 1968, something totally unexpected happened. In what some might call a risky business gamble or a stroke of absolute genius, Erling decided to expand. He bought a shop called Maurits Vidfors. Now, here is the kicker. Maurits Vidfors didn't sell trendy dresses. They sold hunting gear and men's outdoor clothing. Can you imagine that merger today? It would be like a trendy fashion boutique buying out a rugged wilderness shop. Suddenly, Hennes and Maurits was born. This wasn't just a simple name change, it was the birth of a global powerhouse. By adding men's clothing to the mix, H&M became a one-stop shop for the entire family, and they were finally ready to conquer the map. Before we continue with this epic expansion, subscribe to the channel and tell us in the comments where you are watching from. We love seeing how far this story reaches across the globe. By the 1970s, the brand was ready to cross international borders. They landed on the streets of London and the British public went wild. How did they manage to make everyone obsessed with cheap chic so fast? It was all about the vibe. They made budget shopping feel like a major social event. But the real secret weapon wasn't just the stores. It was the sheer speed. While traditional fashion houses were taking 6 long months to design, produce, and ship a single collection, H&M was doing it in weeks. Is it genius or just pure madness? In the world of fashion, speed is everything. They developed a runway to rack pipeline that left everyone else in the dust. By the time the 90s and 2000s rolled around, H&M wasn't just a store anymore. It was a phenomenon. They decided it was time to invade the US market, and the world went wild. Do you remember the massive lines outside the First Fifth Avenue store in New York City? People were waiting for hours just to get a glimpse of the Swedish style. It was absolute chaos, but it proved the world was hungry for fast fashion. Why do we keep coming back, though? It's the thrill of the hunt. New items arrive every day. The message is clear. If you don't buy it now, it's gone forever. Talk about psychological warfare. Behind this madness is the billionaire dynasty of the Persson family. They are one of the richest families on the planet, yet they stay surprisingly low-key. What are they hiding behind those billions of dollars? But things were about to change. H&M was about to do something no one dared. They invited the elite to the party. Imagine the scene in 2004. The fashion world back then was incredibly elitist, exclusive, and honestly a bit snobby. High fashion was strictly for the 1%, while the rest of us were just supposed to watch from the sidelines. Then H&M did the unthinkable. They teamed up with the undisputed king of high fashion, Karl Lagerfeld. Yes, the legendary man with the white ponytail and dark glasses who ran Chanel. Can you imagine the creative director of a luxury house designing for a store where you can buy basic socks for $5? The fashion world was shaking to its core, and critics called it the death of luxury. But was it a mistake or a stroke of marketing genius? When the collection dropped, it wasn't just a sale. It was a total riot. People were literally fighting in the aisles, grabbing everything they could reach before the person next to them did. The entire collection sold out in minutes globally. This was the Lagerfeld effect. It proved that everyone craved that designer touch. It wasn't the end of high fashion. It was a move that changed the industry's DNA, making making luxury feel accessible for the first time. After Carl broke the internet before that was even a common phrase, the floodgates flew wide open. Suddenly, every big name wanted a piece of the H&M pie. We saw iconic collaborations with Stella McCartney, Victor and Rolf, and Roberto Cavalli. It became a legendary annual tradition, a fashion Christmas where we all waited to see which legend would grace the budget racks next. Who was your favorite? Was it the edgy Balmain drop that had people camping outside, or the colorful Kenzo madness? H&M didn't just stop at designers though, they brought in the queens of pop to keep the hype train moving. Remember the M by Madonna line in 2007? Or Beyoncé's legendary summer campaign that turned every local beach into a high-end runway. They weren't just selling us a swimsuit, they were selling the dream of being a superstar for $30. It was brilliant psychological marketing that made us feel like part of the elite. But how do they actually pull this off on such a gargantuan scale? We are pulling back the curtain on their supply chain secrets. We're talking about a massive network of thousands of independent suppliers across Europe and Asia. It is a logistical masterpiece, or a nightmare depending on who you ask. This runway to rack pipeline is the heart of the beast. How do they copy trends so fast? They employ cool hunters who are constantly prowling the globe. These spotters are everywhere, from the underground clubs of Berlin to the trendy streets of Tokyo, identifying what's hot before we even know we want it. By the time a trend hits the Paris catwalk, H&M is often already halfway through production. Is it inspiration or just high-speed imitation? Nobody can deny the formula works like a charm, keeping the shelves fresh and the customers coming back for more every single week. To showcase this hype, H&M started building stores that looked like futuristic palaces. Flagship stores in New York or London became genuine tourist destinations. Why go to a museum when you can walk into a multi-story H&M with a live DJ, neon lights, and high-tech fitting rooms? It made shopping an experience rather than a chore. Regarding the internal vibe, the culture is famously very Swedish. It's all about flat hierarchies, consensus, and teamwork. But you have to wonder, how does that lagom cozy vibe actually scale when you're managing a global empire of over 4,000 stores? It's a delicate balance between Swedish simplicity and aggressive global dominance. Everything seemed perfect, a golden era of expansion and massive profits. H&M was the undisputed king of the high street. But wait, because there is more to the story. As the digital world shifted, the internet arrived in full force. And things started to get messy. From sustainability scandals to the rise of even faster, cheaper rivals, is the H&M crown starting to slip? We are about to find out if they can survive the new era of fashion. The world changed faster than a trend on a Tuesday morning, and H&M found itself facing a brand new type of predator. Enter the era of TikTok hauls, where influencers dump giant bags of clothes on their beds for millions of views. For years, H&M was the king of these hauls, but suddenly the Shane monster appeared from the digital shadows. This new rival isn't just fast, it's ultra fast, dropping thousands of new items every single day at prices that make H&M look like a luxury boutique. How does a traditional giant compete with an algorithm that tracks your every click? This is the new world order of clothing. But the competition isn't the only fire H&M has to put out, because the tea is absolutely boiling when it comes to the environment. To fight back against the image of being a polluter, H&M launched the Conscious Collection, using recycled materials and sustainable fabrics. While the effort was marketed as a revolutionary step, critics dismissed it as greenwashing, a clever PR tactic. Are they actually saving the planet? Or just putting a green coat of paint on a crumbling system? The truth is often much messier than a glossy marketing campaign suggests. This leads us to those infamous recycling bins in their stores. You drop off your old jeans, get a discount coupon, and walk away feeling like a hero. But where do those clothes actually go? Investigative reports suggest that many of those garments end up in massive, overflowing landfills in the global south. The brand hit a major wall in 2018 when a massive inventory nightmare was exposed. It was revealed that H&M was sitting on a staggering $4.3 billion in unsold clothes. That is a literal mountain of fabric that nobody wanted. The company faced a PR storm as photos of the surplus leaked online. The rumors that followed were even more shocking, with claims that the company was burning unsold stock to generate energy in Swedish power plants. While they claimed they only burned clothes that were unsafe or damaged, the public image was already hurt. As if the drama wasn't enough, H&M also faced a PR disaster that the internet will never forget. Remember the coolest monkey in the jungle controversy? A photo of a young black boy wearing that specific hoodie appeared on their website and triggered a global firestorm. Protests broke out, and celebrities like The Weeknd cut ties with the brand. The brand had to issue a public apology to calm the outrage. It was a massive wake-up call. How did a global brand make such a tone-deaf mistake? It proved that even a fashion empire can lose its way when it moves too fast and forgets the cultural context of its audience. They survived the boycott, but the scar remains. For a while, it seemed like H&M was a bit late to the online party. While their rival Zara was killing it with a seamless digital experience, H&M was still heavily focused on physical flagship stores. They've been playing catch-up ever since, pouring billions into digital transformation to ensure their app and website can handle the modern shopper's demands. They are betting big on technology to stay relevant, so what's next? Rumors are swirling that they might pivot toward a more premium vibe, similar to their successful sister brand COS, focusing on higher quality and timeless pieces. Or will they double down on the Gen Z market by using AI-driven designs to predict the next viral hit? H&M changed the way the world dresses. They democratized fashion and made it possible for anyone to look like they just stepped off a runway. But we have to ask, at what cost? They conquered the global market, but can they stay on top in a world that is finally demanding more ethics and less waste? What do you think? Is H&M still the GOAT of fast fashion, or have you already moved on to the next big thing? Drop your hottest take in the comments because we need to talk about